actually moved the primary fermenter probably 3 to 4 hours before I did this to let the sediment have time to settle again. After I moved it, it was kind of shaken up a little bit. And then like that. There you have it. When you're transferring the beer over, you want to make sure you try not to touch the sediment on the bottom. You want to leave all the leftover yeast and sugars and stuff on the bottom. You don't want to put your siphon all the way to the bottom. You just kind of have to really look hard sometimes to see, through, especially if you're brewing a dark beer. But if you're brewing a light beer, it's easier to see where you are in there. But just try to keep that siphon off of the bottom. Put it all in here and you'll be amazed how much stuff actually will be at the bottom of this one again at the end of another week. Alright, it's been 2 weeks since we've originally made this batch of beer. Last week we transferred it from the primary fermenter into the secondary fermenter, and tonight we're going to transfer it from this fermenter into the corny keg. After that we're going to force carbonate it, and this ale is going to be ready to drink in literally 3 days. This is a lot faster than when you naturally carbonate beer with priming sugar. You have to wait a lot longer, it's a lot messier, you have to bottle each individual beer. I'm telling you, if you're bottling beer, you need to go to kegging. Kegging is the way to go with homebrewing. Now the corny keg I'm using is what you call a ball lock corny keg. There's also a pen lock, but ball locks are more common. Alright, what I'm doing now is sanitizing all the components that make up the Cornelius keg. I usually sanitize all of these components after each beer that I brew. And it's really easy. You just take these little pieces here, pop these little O-rings off, just like this, and throw them in your sanitizing solution. These little pins come out of here. Now, take note, there's grooves in one of these stems. That one right there is the gas. The one with the slits in it is the gas. You just drop all that in your sanitizing solution, take out each of these pins. The pins are the same in each of the stem valves. Okay, so now what I've done is I've taken another sample of the beer. I put it with the hydrometer, checked the specific gravity again, like we did in week 1. And if you remember in week 1, it was 1.078. 2 weeks later, the gravity is now 1.021. So is what you do is you take 1.078 minus 1.021, multiply that by 131. That number came out to 7.467. That's the alcohol content. So give or take, when all is said and done, it's going to be about 7.5% alcohol content level. That's a good beer. Alright, so now once again we're going to transfer the beer into this corny keg. And you want to make sure your tube is all the way to the bottom. You don't want it to be just kind of halfway up there with your beer just spraying down into the bottoms. What that does is just kind of aerates the beer, and you want it to just flow into the corny keg nice and smooth. to lube your O-ring here. And I bought this lube at Austin Homebrew as well. This really assures it gets a really nice tight seal. Now we are officially ready to force carbonate this keg. Okay, so I have the Cornelius keg now all hooked up. Gas in. And it is set to roughly 27-28 PSI. Alright, so we got the beer in the beer closet. I got the gas hooked up to it. I got it set on 28 PSI, and what I do at this point is don't touch it for 3 to 4 days. There are 101 different methods of forced carbonation. When I first started kegging, I started calling all the home brews I could think of. I would call them in New Hampshire, California, New Jersey, Chicago. I was just calling everywhere to hear everybody's different methods on forced carbonation. And what I noticed is not one of them is the same. Some people would be like, well, you put it on 45 one night, 25 the next. Some other people were like, well, I just hook up the gas, put it on the ground and roll it, and I can get it carbonated in 2 hours. So my method happens to just be 28 PSI, 3 to 4 days, and it works perfectly for my taste. At the end of the 3 to 4 days, I knock the PSI down to 12, and I pull out of the wall a perfectly chilled, foamy, ice-cold, frothy ale. And that's what this is really all about. Okay, so the wait is up, finally. 2 weeks and 3 days later, I'm ready to drink the beer I made. So I've knocked the PSI down from 28 to roughly 10 to 11. I have a longer hose, so if you have a shorter hose, you might knock it down to about 5 or 4. So, moment of truth. Now that, my friends, is a nicely carbonated beer with a perfect head. And a beer mustache. Now, the real test though is, will the missus like it?
Rich, dark, smooth,
strong.
It's really good, strong.
This is an AHS strong ale from Austin Homebrew. I gotta tell you, it really came out nicely. 7.5%. Good beer. Happy home brewing.
If I should fall for grace of God, we're no doctor can relieve me. If I'm breaking the side.